Winter clamped down over the capital, and somewhere inside the manor a quiet voice warned that the north was especially cruel this season. She left him at the doorway with 3 soft orders. Stay warm, do not get sick, come back whenever you want. He kept standing in the courtyard, alone, as the heavy door swung shut behind her and her footsteps faded into the snow. He kept standing even after her silhouette disappeared over the distant hills, the wind dragging cold up through the manor stones. Somewhere far from him, a girl with silver hair and a red ribbon was already crying, mouth open, every sound stuck inside her throat. And a soldier in a red cloak was about to admit that there had never ever been anything cooler than what was coming. A glowing helm slammed forward through the dust, the soul core pulsing red, and the air itself rang against the broken armor. A living armor specter ripped down the slope with claws raised, and the only thing between it and her was a name screamed twice. Evangeline froze in place. Tears spilled down her cheeks before she could think. Mouth wide, breath stuck somewhere far behind her ribs. Ash roared back across the gap, dark eyes wild, his voice carrying an order even the specter seemed to flinch beneath. She lifted her head. Hair caught the wind. The lance settled in her hand, and something older than fear started to wake up. Behind her, Ash leaned in close and asked a single quiet question, and her tear-streaked face whispered back, "What?" Ash grinned over her shoulder like a coach watching a star athlete sweat. Now do your best, Miss Insurance." Her gauntlets locked around the shield rim and the lance shaft. Evangeline squeezed both as if her bones had named them, just like the weapons had finally found their lost owner. The leather settled, the steel hummed, and her grip stopped shaking. And the memory ran further back, to a girl too small for armor kneeling beside Ash in front of a wooden scarecrow. His voice arrived from years away, soft and certain. And the shield like this. Good. She would carry that single word, good, every time her lungs forgot how to breathe. A memory of when she was very young. His voice threaded through her arms in real time. A little more, like you're twisting the lance. The shaft turned in her grip. Good? That's it, Evangeline. The praise landed across years, and her stance widened, and lightning chased itself along the edge of the lance. The specter shrieked, claws snapping forward. Pink flame burst around its skull as it tried to bury her in pure weight. She braced low, helm tilted, every muscle in her shoulders remembering what Ash had hammered into her bones years ago. Her green eye flared inside the helm shadow, sharper than any sword in the field, and the world narrowed to one angle. Light exploded outward in a single crack as the lance found the seam he had drilled into her since she was small. Her boot pivoted on the dirt, leaving a clean white arc, and the world quieted around the heel of her armored foot. It felt like a path was opening up before her eyes, every specter ahead suddenly slow, every weak point glowing like a marker. She drove the lance home, and the armor split open in a clean line of red, sparks chasing the steel through bone. Her silver hair whipped sideways like a banner finally raised. Her green eyes were wide, soft again, almost afraid of her own grace. She turned to him, voice cracking through tears. "You," she breathed across the burning field. "I believed in you, I really did." The blade came up between her gauntlets, steady, certain, the angle Ash had carved into her years ago, staring back at him. Her armored skirt swept through the dust as she pivoted, the lance trailing fire, the moment hanging like a held breath. Ash grinned and tossed the moment away like a coin. What did I just say? Haha, what is this, some game? He coughed once into his black glove. The warmth left his eyes the second the joke finished its breath. The specter behind her ruptured into red petals of flame, and the spreading ring sounded almost like applause. Evangeline bared her teeth and lifted the shield again, hair lifted on the heat, every muscle braced like a verdict already written. Ash watched her from the ridge and read the situation in one breath. She had no ranged weapons left to defend with. The mana gun was all out of bullets. The sun had almost set across the valley. It would be night soon, very soon. Ash turned in the long purple dusk and gave the order. Evangeline, this is the last one for today. Yes, Senior. She launched at the next specter without hesitation, hair streaming, lance lowered, eyes fixed on a single soul core ahead. Defiant her, Ash punched a fist into the air, dark uniform sharp against the gold trim, every line of him pure command. Red flame bloomed over the valley as her lance buried itself in the chest of the last specter standing today. Steel rang against shield one final time, and the air stayed bright after the blow as if afraid to settle down. Good job, Evangeline. His voice arrived flat, almost paternal, the boots of his uniform passing her on the dust. Light blew sideways across the valley. The flash of her finishing blow looked, for 1 second, like a star being born. Then memory softened the world. A tiny Evangeline swinging at a flame-cored target dummy under starlight, Ash crouched in his red cloak watching. He had stared at her even then like she was a weapon already, 3 quiet dots of thought rising into the night sky. Then the dusk slammed back in. The horizon split white again, and a new line of light came tearing across the sky. A red trail screamed across the dusk valley like a comet aimed at one body and refused to slow down for anyone. Behind her, voices shattered. No way, a bullet from Crossroad, the far edge of the Empire, fired straight into this valley. Mountains burned at the bullet's tail. The line of fire hung in the air, unbroken, the kind of streak only legends pull off. Soldiers stared at Ash, breathless. Does that mean the shot was fired by signal? From such a far, unreasonable, monstrous distance? Their voices came back as one verdict, ringed in shock around the field. It was physically impossible. Every one of them said so. Ash pointed one finger toward the sky and laughed. All teeth. The joy of a man who already knew the answer. The bullet came down hard. Light bent around her shield. Her armor barely held the line as the impact split the air. Evangeline's scream tore loose. A long, ragged sound, hair flung wide. Every drop of her training shaken in one heartbeat. The shield rang like a struck bell as the round detonated against it, sparks fountaining sideways into the valley dust. She folded forward in the smoke. Ugh, she gasped. Knees hit the ash, gauntlet trembling at the dirt beside her. One white boot scraped forward. She tried to stand. She did not quite make it. The dust held the print like a promise. Ash walked through the smoke, calm as a parent stepping into a child's room. You really did it, he said softly. He looked down at her with something almost soft, almost not. The dusk silver behind his shoulder, her green eyes barely open. Well, he murmured, the word landing like a verdict. The smile started slow, then opened wide enough to swallow the day. His face came in close against the night, every line satisfied, every corner of his smile a lock clicking quietly shut. Go to sleep, kid. Relax. Hush. Little baby. The lullaby covered her like a blanket she would never quite lift again. Three flashes split the dark above the fortress. Ash watches them like a man counting bullets in a magazine. The other side held. He lets that small mercy land in his eyes for half a second. No longer. Damien's long-distance shot tore across a battlefield no priest should ever have to range. A distance a bullet has no business crossing. Clairvoyance bent the world until the bullet listened. Damien would have been wrecked pulling that off. Ash promises a compliment. The healer earned it tonight. Evangeline's personal kit sits abandoned in the dirt, both pieces still pulsing with a quiet violet light. Heir of the Cross family set, 2 of 2 complete. Equip them together and Crossroad activates in full. SSR characters are not ranks, they are stories the game balances reluctantly around. Crossroad. The Cross family's history of killing monsters and shielding people, distilled into one girl's heartbeat. Evangeline said she saw a path. Hard to explain, she said. The buff Payson burned mana. He nearly screamed when they buried her. The body was barely cold and the hole was already waiting. He had meant to send Evangeline away from this front, far from the smoke and the dying. Desperate times spend the people you swore to protect. Forgive me, he tells the dead. The fortress flickers in the distance, golems being mopped up, the night finally quieting. They will be fine, he decides. Rest now. The line will hold without him for one night. Ash kneels beside the fire, the red cape settling around him like a blanket of consequence. You're awake, says the small voice. White hair, green eyes, the practiced smile of a kid who has bled. I feel better after sleeping, Evangeline says. Not like I will die. The fire pops as if to disagree. Insurance, Ash thinks. The girl Mr. A planted in his court, alive again, looking right at him. Trees breathe under a soft moon, the camp quieting into the kind of silence that feels almost safe. Do we have to spend the night here, Evangeline asks, edging closer to the fire and the warmth. A growl drags through the dark, low an animal 4 times in a row, getting hungrier each pass. Who is there, Ash snaps, hand already half drawn. Another enemy. The Tyrant has trust issues. Then he sees her, mouth tight, ears pink, white hair catching the firelight, very visibly embarrassed. Just a hungry girl, stomach growling like a war horn. The Tyrant exhales, crisis demoted to dinner. He walks her back from the dark, finds the fire, finds something edible. A small camp, a smaller mercy, a small fruit between her fingers. She nibbles like a kid who forgot she was supposed to be deadly. Plop. The bite hits. Her eyes go very wide. Something is going terribly wrong on her tongue. Blah, it tastes bad. The cross heir, conqueror of monsters, undone by one piece of woodland fruit. She thrusts the chewed bite toward him like evidence in a trial. Look. Witness this, my lord. Plop, chew, tremble, blah, a whole arc in 3 panels. The girl can act, or she cannot pretend. It is so bitter, she gasps. I need something to drink. The fruit defeated a cross. Standards have collapsed. Ash produces a bottle from somewhere. A soldier always has a bottle. Who cares, she says, I just died. I get it now, she grins, glass already halfway up. The girl learned bad habits in her short death. Ha! She kicks the glass back like a small veteran in an old war movie. Crossroad indeed. Really, really disgusting, she announces. Obviously, Ash answers, dry as bone. Both fruit and alcohol fail her. Then her eyes change. The smile slips off her face like cheap makeup caught in a rainstorm. She protected the city for 3 years in that state. A child holding back monsters with closed teeth. Ash tilts the bottle. Amber pours, slow and gold, into a glass that has seen worse nights. Drink, child. The Tyrant's voice does not soften, but his hand does. Ting goes the rim. I do not want to be an adult, she says quietly. Ha ha ha, Ash answers. The laugh is real and brittle. The campfire roars up, embers spitting toward a sky too clean for the things being said tonight. I knew it, she says, the words coming small. The cemetery rises behind her eyes, white and very quiet. He was sobbing on the inside. Her father on the other side of the wall, where children do not see. She presses her lips together. The good girl mask cracks along a line she cannot hide anymore. If he gave me a chance to be a bad daughter, she breathes. Just once, I would have taken it gladly. And I hate mourning alone, she finishes. The Tyrant hears every word. He has mourned alone too. I miss them, she whispers. A small family in golden light, a child between two parents, hands held tight. Then the warm light fails. Green eyes flood, red collar, white hair, a face far too young for this. Ash sits a careful distance away. The tyrant has nothing to say. He lets Evangeline cry in peace. Drink dust and persevere, the family creed says. The girl is doing both, hands cupped around nothing. A memory, soft, a young man with a long ponytail, a quiet woman beside him. The parents she still loves. Is Evangeline herself. The line lands. Her sobs break open. The cross legacy is not armor tonight. She passes out beside the fire. The cross sigil flickers above her sleeping body, faint as a heartbeat. Dad, she murmurs in her sleep, the smallest word. The one only the dead can answer now. Ash walks past her to two graves at the edge of camp, a bottle held loose in one gloved hand. He sets the bottle down between her parents' headstones. The tyrant has come to share a drink. He drinks, one pour for the father, one for the mother. The amber burns going down. The eastern sky lights up palely. It is almost dawn. The night has finished spending what it took. Wind crosses the field. The little graves stand quiet. Ash stands quieter, cape settling around him. He raises a hand, palm steady against the bruised dawn. A salute, a goodbye, a promise to keep going. Far away, Lucas breathes shallow under blonde hair, blood smeared along the white and blue armor. Another stage had come to an end. The tyrant walks toward the next one. Crossroad waits to be paid. Crossroad's spires rise white above the morning mist, hiding the cost of the war Ash just survived. By the lakeside monument, Ash stands in black, the white-haired girl kneeling at his feet in prayer's posture. The price of a fumble is big, he tells himself, bandaged hand drifting to the silver pendant at his throat. Evangeline lifts her head, voice small. Is she okay? She asks, meaning the girl who almost broke beside him. She is awake, she speaks. Wide green eyes flickering with something feral that has not yet decided if it is grateful. Across the courtyard arches, the blonde knight waits in blue and silver. Lucas has come bearing news from the front. Within 15 minutes Demian shattered the magic stones, and within 2 hours every living armor was dust on the field. Inuinavili, fearful Aish listens, dark hair falling over still eyes, the silver crossroad pendant catching light he barely registers. In the colonnade behind them, the gold-armored soldier crosses past in shadow, the legion already debriefing in low voices. There are no deaths, my prince. Lucas's blue eyes hold steady, and the words land like a verdict in Ash's chest. That's great, Lucas. No deaths. Ash repeats it, half a smile, voice carrying a quiet weight only he can hear. Then his thoughts turn inward. Is this because they didn't have the indomitable commander on their roster? Indomitable commander. Provides all comrades within 10 meters mental immunity from insanity. He thought it simply prevented battlefield madness. What is he, an aromatherapist? Does this just make them more dependent on him standing in the middle? Lucas's pauldron catches the light as the knight half turns, blonde hair shifting, sensing his prince has drifted somewhere far. Blue eyes find him. Lucas studies his face the way an aide studies weather before a storm rolls in. Ash sets a hand on the silver pauldron, a small steadying gesture, the tyrant playing the role of the calm prince again. Then copper on his teeth. He coughs into his bandaged fist, blood on his knuckle. Ah, really? Now of all moments. Gosh, he should go home and lie down. Crossroads twin towers blur past as the body finally asks for rest. The Lord's Manor inner garden opens beneath him. Marble gazebo, climbing roses, sparrows scattering across the gravel path. A flicker of movement past the hedges. His gray eye narrows, fatigue forgotten in a single instinctive heartbeat. Through the arbor, the white-haired girl waits in her sick dress. She is gonna get sick like that, he murmurs. Evangeline turns, green eyes warm, the bandage on her cheek catching gold. She is almost smiling without permission. On the day he was going to leave, she was supposed to get treated and recover slowly in this quiet stone garden. She remembers his words, white hair lifted by a faint breeze. He wanted her to live freely, in whatever way she wanted. Exactly, the silver gauntleted memory of the Cross family's old code presses up against her chest like an iron seal. Evangeline laughs, eyes scrunched shut, a sound shockingly young from a girl who almost died 3 days ago. But if she were to stand in his shoes, she says quietly, she would carry the same impossible weight without flinching. Evangeline smiles wide, leaning over the wrought iron bench. She will carry it with him. He does not get to refuse. I'll carry it with you, he repeats softly to himself, 3 little dots from his mouth, somewhere between dread and surrender. She raises a fist, top ranked at the academy, pretty good at fighting too. Cheeks flushed, daring him to argue. Of course she is, an SSR ranker, the strongest character of all the SSR tankers. 3 jobs, ultimate skill maxed. Come on, say something, she calls from the gazebo as petals drift past the marble columns in the spring sky. Say what? Ash glances over, trying to play it light, the question hanging dumb between them in the warming air. The strongest tanker in the SSR pool, Evangeline Cross is asking the Tyrant to accept her into his personal party. Hey for haha, sure. Thanks for accept, Ash starts, the half-smile comfortable for the first time today, the mask easy. Then Evangeline leans in, bandage close to his cheek, green eyes losing all play. There is a condition, Ash. He glances back at her, dark hair falling, the easy smile thinning. Whatever she is about to say will cost him. Become mature enough to be responsible for this city, she says. Continue to help her so her decision still has weight. Ash holds the answer in his throat, smile thin, 3 little dots replacing whatever the gamer wanted to crack first. She waits, fist clenched, white hair haloed by the spring sun. The bandage on her cheek looks almost ceremonial. This game finishes in about 3 years anyway, he tells her. The gamer's grin has just enough teeth to lie with. He'll even write her a check. Above the Crossroad walls, red banners snap in a wind only he can hear coming. When she was younger, her mother told her something. She knew if she stayed in this city, she might die. She knew that, yet she chose this path. The reason, her mother said, is what continues after she is gone. But I still don't understand, Ash admits to the empty bench, his back to her, dark hair catching the late afternoon. Her white fingers fold over his bandaged hand. The cross air is steady. The gamer's pulse skips one quiet beat. She lifts a thumb up, eyes bright, daring him to listen all the way through to where the lesson actually lands. She brushes the bandage with 2 fingers and smiles, the quietest expression she has worn since this all began. Spring is finally here, Ash answers, eyes drifting past her shoulder to where new green is climbing the marble. I think I kind of get it now. White hair around her face like silk. A girl finally letting the lessons settle in. Her mother was determined. She knew the war could be brutal, yet despite all that, she still wanted a daughter. Maybe that's the reason everyone in this city lives with the same determination, holding the line for what comes next. Sensing the arrival of spring, a new sprout pushes up through the fresh earth, 2 pale leaves trembling. I think I get it a little now, Mom and Dad. Evangeline whispers, 2 gray stones rising in the cemetery light. It's just a little, but I get it, she says, hands clasped at her chest, white hair haloed by spring sun. Then the blue system lights for Ash, stage 3 clear, stage MVP. The Tyrant's rewards drop into his quiet inventory. A blue system card crowns Ash Stage MVP with 3 glowing stars, the verdict locked in pixel light. Ash's stunned voice cracks across the static, a single question. What? I'm the stage MVP. Crimson lightning splits across his chest, a hidden glyph waking under the dark uniform with a sharp psychic snap. The system pings him again. Nick Elise. Hidden ability is unlocking, his eyes blown wide by the red glare. Ash mutters that he doesn't know why it's called the Rebel's Necklace, but at least he can use the store. The pink pixel clerk welcomes him to the EXP Points store, current points humming above the purchase prompt. His thoughts circle back, asking himself what a dark event even is. This is his first time hearing the term. Ash's eyes narrow into red slits, the realization sliding into place. Could it be that one? The screen flares as the purchase completes. A red token labeled Dark Event Trace drops into his inventory. A side panel breaks down the omens. Worst Monster Army Stage 1, NPC Interference Stage 2, Unusual Behavior Stage 3. He weighs each clue carefully, this whole campaign reeking of the empty shadowy attack pattern coming for him. The capital sprawls below dawn light, New Terra, the capital of the Everblack Empire massing toward its grand splendor. Black towers spike out of the city's heart, the central palace ringed by black thorn trees that earn its name. The Everblack Empire Administrative Office rises through morning haze, banner crest carved over the high stone arch. Inside the corridor, a hooded figure stands at the door as Ash's voice cuts low. What is it? A silver fountain pen freezes mid-signature, the document beneath bleeding ink across an unfinished line. The visitor speaks his name like a hesitation. Ash, the wall plate below reading Chairman of Internal Affairs. Black gloved hands set a thin spectacle frame on the desk, the lens catching cold lamplight in a quiet thud. Ash stands half-lit at the desk edge, the flame scans watermark a faint signature over his portrait. He raises his head slowly, both eyes burning red now, hair shadowing the rest of his face into stone. A wall map dominates the room, Ash updating the visitor. We are finishing up the war with the Bringer Dukedom. His red eyes glint twin coals in the gloom, a slow smolder fixed on the visitor like a hunting cat. A crimson explosion rips a tower wall on the holographic map, the first prince's troop hammering the Dukedom's capital. The aide answers calmly across the lamplit office. The prince, he is at the front lines. A gold crown floats above 3 suns, no matter how formidable his fighting skills, he is the firstborn prince. Ash exhales under dripping bangs, his voice flat as iron. Both of my brothers are giving me headaches. From the deepest part of the palace, a silhouette slumps on the iron throne, hand pressed to a tired brow. The second prince sits half-lit by lamp, gold epaulets glinting, while the war drags on far away. The narrator weighs the empire balance. The emperor's absence has probably influenced the war with the Bringer Dukedom. A pale gloved hand spreads a creased document on the desk, Ash reading the headline as an execution request. The aide confirms a request to execute high treason criminals currently held in the underground prison, and Ash answers, of course. A second sheet slides forward labeled Send Them, the chairman's polite voice asking, Oh, send reinforcement soldiers. Black-gloved fingers flick the gold epaulets straight, sleeves crisp, a small cruel ritual before the order goes live. A pile of paper sheets lies spread in lamplight, the red stamp reading reinforcement request from the southern battlefront. The aide reads back the cold logic. Doesn't Ash just need a meat shield? They're going to die anyway. Ash's profile turns half-lit, one red eye visible above the high collar, voice silk laid over a knife. The list reads back. The following 5 high treason prisoners will be executed at the southern front, names stacked like markers. A small wicked smile cracks across Ash's lips under heavy bangs, the gold collar pendant catching low candle glow. Outside the office, a glass-framed atrium opens behind him, his back receding through the bright corridor. Black towers loom above stone arches, the chairman's voice trailing after, "Don't you think so, Ash?" Inside a sunlit infirmary, Ash stands in red cape and dark uniform, asking the priest gently, "How are your eyes, Damien?" Ash leans in with a wolfish grin, ruffling Damien's hair. "You rascal," while the boy clutches his head. Damien's pale face fills the view, white bandages crossing both eyes, a faint smile peeking through. Ash sits opposite the bed, Damien half turning asking, then settling, "Well, I will order you around, but..." Ash's gloved hand lifts toward Damien's bandaged face, the priest grinning back, "I am your highness's trigger?" Damien's bandaged eyes lift slightly, his hand cradling his own forehead, a fragile relief over his thin shoulders. Ash answers low, voice losing its smile, "I couldn't say no to him," the words landing like private confession. Sunlight pours through tall window panes, Ash murmuring, "Damien," the priest answering softly, "Yes, my prince." A flashback string folds open. Damien back then, lost his friend and lost all will to live, dark memory beats. Ash continues the recap, "In order to force Damien up to his feet, I used his hatred for me as fuel." He turns his head slowly, side profile catching cold sun, the line floating, "For making your friend die." Damien looks up, light cutting across his bandages, mouth slightly open, the question lingering between them. Ash's voice steadies, and peace comes to this battlefront, the line resting on him like a vow. Ash gently lifts the bandage from Damien's eyes, a black wrap pulled aside in the soft window light. 3 years from now, a stone fortress stands at the southern frontier, twin towers crowned by a red banner. Ash's stern profile fills the morning, voice grim, "Once I get there, I will know the exact battlefield results." The next night after the stage was completed, moon huge over slate rooftops, shadows folding across the empire. Inside a corridor, a glass mug shatters somewhere off panel, sound effects shrieking across the ceiling. He thinks it through. "I needed to know the exact results," smoke and rubble drifting across what was the wall. So he went to check the wall, the artifact storage, a green orb pulsing beside a laughing red-haired magician. Lily greets him in stained glass light, voice asking, "There's a victory party tonight too," smile bright. He hesitates a beat, or Jupiter, lightning crackling around the silver-haired sorceress hammering a flank. Floating bubbles tease, "You're experienced in this field, be the life of the party for me." He answers gently into the empty hallway, "But I have to do what I have to do." The screen flares blue, Lucas SSR level 35, title main character, Prince's Bodyguard, elite knight, every stat singing. Lucas of Crossroad stands frozen in pixel form, level 35, SSR stamped. The Prince's Bodyguard built like a quiet weapon. Ash hunches over the glowing status card, jaw tight, watching numbers that prove his blonde knight already changed his job twice. The own skills panel lights up, strike of will and step of perseverance ready, the ultimate slot still locked behind a third job change. Ash exhales hard, a ghost of a smile pulling at him as he imagines Lucas finishing the climb and unlocking that final form. The path to a god of war is long and ugly, but Ash already sees the finish line burning at the end of it. Lucas grins easy in soft daylight, no idea his prince is plotting his ascension like a coach studying tape. Ash drags himself from level 20 up to 22, sweat grinding every monster, every reset, every brutal hour of game time. It's the end of sorrows, he tells himself, the start of happiness. If only the Crossroad Lord can claw the climb himself. A reward chest cracks open with hidden class fanfare, gold light spilling out, every line of text promising cheat tier rewards. Ash's own card finally pops. Level 20, Crossroad Lord, Crazed Third Prince, Intermediate Commander, the title burning into the screen. His own skills panel reveals a single passive, Indomitable Commander, and one active glowing slot, the rest locked behind future job changes. Eye of the Commander binds any target who meets his gaze, success scaling against their magic stat, useless against his own allies. In short, mind control magic at wide range, a Tyrant's leash dressed up as a status effect with cinematic light bursting around him. Honestly, he'd been expecting an explosive active skill, the kind that vaporizes a monster horde in one casting. The reward inventory glitters, fresh chests stacked across the grid, that one SR drop a normal player only sees once a run. An SR rarity practically jumps off the inventory grid, gold-plated, sparking, the kind of pull most runs of this game never deliver. Ash narrows his eyes at the chest, the prince's stare cold and surgical, already deciding which slot to slam first. He's not a man who trusts luck twice in a row, he says it himself. He needs a weapon that's consistent and practical. He doesn't want a one-time miracle, he wants a tool he can swing in the worst minute of any boss fight. Gold light blasts up out of the box, the chamber screaming a completed item, a finished SSR weapon dropping straight into his hand. The chest peels open in pure radiance, gold filigree blooming across its lid like a holy door cracking apart. The wand snaps into Ash's grip, jet black shaft, gold cap tip, balanced like a fencing foil for a third prince. Every SSR weapon comes with a signature trick, the system tells him. This wand carries a unique slate of abilities baked in. Its base ability spawns floating magic blades around the wielder, a crown of knives orbiting the pixel sprite. It's a clean mid-range wand, the system says so, strong basic damage with a magic blade swarm wrapped in. More importantly, the wand also casts an extremely good buff, a number that makes Lily flinch when the system reads it aloud. Wait, so now Ash realizes he can hit his own party members with this stick, no friendly fire damage attached. Tiny chibis cluster on a snowfield, scolding him, slap on the hand, a hit on the calves, corporal punishment ruling. The Crossroad Palace looms in the night sky, while Ash quietly searches for a polite excuse to bonk his entire cast. Crossroads banners crack in fresh wind, blood-red roses snapping above battlements. Time has clearly moved on after the last assault. An army of silhouettes still pours toward a distant castle in memory, the swarm of the previous siege a black tide. The damage from that night was too extensive, so for now they simply left the broken outer wall there to rot. Now Ash decides it's time to start rebuilding, every shattered stone of the outer ring a future life saved. If they handle this advanced base well, the diagram shows red enemy waves bleeding away before they ever touch the main fort. They mount a giant green orb on a stone turret, an anti-air rig humming green light, prepping for whatever flies in next. Fearful Lily reels in chibi panic, hair frizzing, realizing the remaining stages are going to be brutal beyond anything they've survived. Fearful Lily's full-face panic breaks past comedy, sweat beating at her temples, the truth of Stage 4 already screaming in her chest. Ash and Lucas slip through the Crossroads streets at dusk, a casino's blue holographic tower throbbing at the end of the lane. Ash and Lucas stand under the casino's blue holographic tower, two pixel-sized rebels at the foot of a giant gambling rig. They drop into a warm little restaurant, the cook beaming over the counter treating her crown prince customer like an old regular. Back at the palace, a blue mana fountain flares inside its stone arch, raw stage energy bleeding off into the courtyard. The system snaps a window into the air, Stage 4, 7 days and 9 hours, the countdown ticking down with every breath. Ash gathers Lucas, Evangeline, and Demian in the courtyard, telling his cast he hopes they all rested well these past few days. Evangeline trembles in front of Ash, white hair falling over her face, refusing to meet the prince's eyes for some reason. Lucas grabs Ash's chin and physically tilts his head, demanding the prince look at how strange Evangeline is acting tonight. Ash blinks, lips parting. The only words he manages are, "What is?" the great Crossroad Lord blanking under his bodyguard's pressure. He runs the math, same party, fought the golems together. She even told him about her parents one quiet night. The screen blanks to gradient gray, the storyteller pausing, every theory he just listed dropping into the void at once. Under the palace arches, Ash steps toward Evangeline, palm out, asking why she is literally backing away from him. Ash's eyes lock forward, brow furrowed, asking the question every reader is asking, what does she actually want from him? Ash steadies himself, red cape pooling at his shoulders, his outstretched gloved hand frozen mid-question between him and Evangeline. Evangeline ducks her head, cheeks burning red, whispering the question. Is it because he visited her at the Cross Estate? Ash speaks bluntly into the dark courtyard, asking what is it? Why are you all acting weird? Voice flat as a blade. Lucas just laughs about it in the background, hands waving, treating the prince's awkward moment like cheap dinner theater. Ash turns and lectures the blonde knight, voice low, scolding him for living the fool life on a battlefield this serious. Lucas stiffens, blue and white plates snapping into a soldier's salute, the prince's word cutting through every smile in his armor. Lucas locks rigid at attention. Get it, so stand up, the bodyguard reminding himself he is the prince's living wall. Ash slaps Lucas's gauntlet in a sharp high five, the slap echoing, the prince and his SSR knight sealed in a quiet pact. The party heads down through the palace gates, a blue arched portal already humming open in the courtyard ahead of them. A dead capital city stretches under gray haze, broken stone husks watching, a place that looks like nothing at all is alive there. A pixel map glows in the dark, red beasts massing on a black silhouette of Crossroad's northern outer wall. Lucas says it won't take that long, let's try to come back before dinner, the sky clear and blissfully blue above them. Ash gives his rare half smile, eyes glinting, lips moving with two simple words, yeah, let's go, the prince finally lighting up. A finger taps the destination menu, dried sewers, hidden alleyway, then locks onto northern outer wall, the choice clicked in. The portal detonates white, swallowing the party in light, with stage 4 already breathing down their necks at the northern wall.